What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are having an amazing day. JJ Shankles, the Goat Toaster's here with your daily tech news. Today we've got a bunch of rumors of future hardware and software releases, so let's get right into it. First, we're going to start in the mobile space. Android 11's beta program will be delayed. It was initially planned to start rolling out at June 3rd. There was a big event that was planned, but now with the state of the nation, they're kind of pushing it back. Unsure exactly when they're going to do it, but it's definitely going to be slightly delayed now. But while they're pushing back the official release, they are leaking it to a couple select Pixel users. My Pixel 4 was not one that was selected, so I'm not on the official beta, but I will keep you updated when more official things start coming out with those leaks of people who do have access to the official Android 11. I guess Google's dessert themes are totally gone now. They dropped them with the Android 10 last year, and now they're just moving on with Android 11. So no more fun dessert names for the Android updates. Super disappointing because I was really looking forward to see what they were going to do at the end of the alphabet, getting desserts for an XYZ. That's when things start getting interesting. But an update that is coming to Android phones is a check-in feature. You can set this up if you're going on a run or on a walk and you don't feel safe in that area. You can set a check-in time to say, hey, every 10 minutes I need to check in on my phone. A notification pops up and you can either dismiss it or alert your friends of your location and send them a pre-written message, or you can have an option to just call 911 at that moment. It won't automatically call 911 at that time because risk to reward here. Risk being it just sends a message to your friends and turns out you are okay. They just were a little worried for a little bit is way better than people being hurt. So this is a super cool feature that Google's rolling out. Always good to stay safe, especially out when you're walking or running. More Google updates for the Wear OS. I swear there's other news in this episode besides Google updates. But in the Wear OS 2.37 update, there's a built-in tile to set up a timer for washing your hands to let you know that you've washed your hands for long enough. Definitely a 2020 app that wouldn't be used other times, especially rolled out officially from Google. But a lot of people need that. It's kind of hard to time yourself when you're washing your hands sometimes. So this is cool. So Google's looking out for you, trying to keep you safe, trying to keep you healthy in 2020. Thank you, Google. And we're done with the Google updates. Now we're on to a Huawei update. There have been released pictures from a patent that was submitted by Huawei, and their next phone may have an under-screen camera. This is definitely the next technology that's been rumored about what might be coming next, beyond pop-up cameras or hole punch cameras or a notch at the top. This is similar to how they're able to hide a thumbprint scanner inside of some screens of OnePlus and a bunch of other phones have in-screen fingerprint readers. Now they might use a similar technology for a camera that's under the screen, and then that part of the screen turns its pixels off and the camera is able to shoot through the screen. Super cool technology, and if this can be implemented well by Huawei, this will definitely be the future of all camera phones. All phones will have a selfie camera under the screen in the future, if this technology is usable, if it doesn't degrade the quality of your camera. I always like looking at the technology of Huawei or Oppo. A lot of these Chinese manufacturers are very forward pushing on the hardware specs, but their software is just not up to spec of what Apple or Google can do with the Pixel or iPhone. And so I personally am going to stick with my Pixel phone. Even though the hardware might be the newest and greatest on these Chinese phones, software is a huge part of the usability of a phone. So that's why I personally am sticking with my Pixel phone. But these technologies, if they're good enough, they will trickle down and then we'll make it to the iPhones and the Googles and the Samsungs of the world. So under-screen cameras may be coming in the future. On to more leaked news. AMD's new discrete graphics card Big Navi might be released at the end of this year. And the first rumors of this came from a Linux software update. People dug through it and they found a couple references to a card that hasn't been released yet. And they think these rumors might be about the future discrete graphics card by AMD coming out at the end of this year. Super cool. This is where AMD might take the lead. If they can compete head-to-head with NVIDIA, this would be huge because they're already competing and even beating Intel in the CPU side. If AMD as one company could be the best CPU and GPU, that would be incredible. They do have a lot of ground to catch up. NVIDIA is definitely the GPU master. For high-end graphics cards, NVIDIA has definitely taken the lead for several years now. But that doesn't mean AMD can't make up a lot of ground this year. They've definitely been creating better and better GPUs every single year. So maybe this year's Big Navi could just be the answer from AMD. On to some leaked news by Intel. Their Ice Lake server-grade CPUs were leaked last year on a similar Linux patch. But now we have actual Geekbench scores for these new CPUs. These are still just rumors out there. We don't definitely know that this is the CPU, and they are just early, probably engineering samples. They're definitely not the final product, and there's still a lot of firmware updates, so these scores are not what it's going to be finally when it's actually released. But initially, as of now, it shows very strong multi-core processing power. As a server, it's definitely not a single core processor. It's not your gaming type PC. This is a 24-core, 48-thread processor. This is huge server-size processors. But if you're doing a lot of multi-threaded processing, video editing, or a lot of graphics stuff, or big data work, then this Ice Lake might just have the answer to that. But we'll have to see how icy this lake actually stays. Intel's been known for creating quite hot CPUs. On to some general news. Amazon's Alexa now allows a drop-in feature, which allows you to use all the Alexa connected devices in your house sort of as an intercom system. This seems weird because Google's already had this for a while. You can say the keyword to Google and then say broadcast and then your phrase, and it'll broadcast it around the whole house. So I don't fully understand why Alexa hasn't had this for a while now, because Google has had this for a long time now, which is definitely a feature I use occasionally to be able to tell everyone in the house something, to be able to announce something, or you can even use your Google Assistant to do this when you're not connected on Wi-Fi. So you can be on your mobile data out driving home and broadcast something at home. Say, hey, start the oven, I'm almost home. You could say, hey, start the oven, I'm almost home, or whatever else you want to broadcast. But now Amazon Alexa also has that feature, so Amazon's finally catching up. And more Amazon news. I feel like the news kind of bundles around certain companies, and one day it'll be a lot of Google, a lot of Amazon, then another day we'll have no Google and no Amazon news. But we're still on Amazon. Their electric car company they're backing, Rivian, just hired the employee who was kind of in charge of setting up these superchargers for Teslas across the nation. And they really want the Rivian chargers to be adventure chargers, they're calling them. So they're putting them in remote locations where regular superchargers aren't as often, kind of marketing their truck and SUV as the adventure electric vehicle, when you can go out in the wilderness and go four-wheeling because it is a truck. Their first location they're targeting is Moab, Utah. There's a lot of great off-roading and wilderness there, and so maybe Tesla wouldn't put a supercharger there, but Rivian is trying to access these more remote locations, and putting a supercharger there is a big step in the right direction, because they're planning these across the entire country. And also their electric vehicles will be able to use existing superchargers, and so they're not trying to focus on the more urban areas that already have a lot of electric chargers everywhere anyway. Definitely a niche part of the market that they're trying to target, and that's kind of what they have to do to break out in the current market of electric vehicles. And on to some gaming news. Sony is delaying the PS5 launch event. Some people have said it's odd that they're doing a launch event even though there's no special games slated for the PS5, but they are stating it's because the world is not in a time for celebration right now. The world is kind of mourning right now, and so they are delaying it into the future a little bit. Definitely with the state of 2020 and how the world is right now, it's not a time for releasing a PS5. They say it just wouldn't feel right, and I definitely understand that. But that about wraps up our news for today. If anything I said was infactual or I missed a story you wanted me to cover, put it in the comments down below, and I'll mention it on tomorrow's episode. And while you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps this channel out with the YouTube algorithm. It gets more people to see this channel and spreading the tech news to everybody. But anyway, I hope you guys have an amazing day out there. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you're washing your hands a lot. I appreciate every single one of you guys for checking in and watching this episode, and I will see you again tomorrow. Go Toaster out.